The scene is set at Diddy's exclusive freak-off party, a lavish event in a sprawling, ultra-modern mansion overlooking the city. The air is electric, filled with a blend of high-end perfume, the bass of a chart-topping DJ remix, and the sound of laughter and chatter bouncing off the sleek marble floors. The mansion is lit in neon hues, with glittering chandeliers suspended from the high ceilings, casting dramatic shadows on the walls. The guest list is a who's who of A-list celebrities, all vying for the title of most outrageous at the most talked-about event of the year. As guests walk in, a giant gold statue of Diddy himself stands at the door, arms raised triumphantly, as if welcoming them to an exclusive world of decadence and hedonism. The first person to make a grand entrance is none other than Kanye West, who's arrived in an all-white futuristic suit that could only be described as alien chic. He's accompanied by a giant, inflatable swan that he insists must be placed in the VIP area for mood purposes. Beyoncé and Jay-Z enter next, and they're dripping in diamonds, glowing with an almost otherworldly radiance. They make their way through the crowd like royalty, Jay-Z throwing out fist bumps, while Beyoncé smiles serenely, her eyes scanning the room. They're immediately handed a drink by a pair of scantily clad models, and Jay-Z raises his glass, shouting, "To the future," in a deep, commanding tone, before taking a sip of something that looks suspiciously like champagne, mixed with 24K gold dust. On the main dance floor, the DJ is spinning the latest tracks, but the crowd has other plans. Lil Nas X has commandeered the mic and is hosting a twerking competition. His only requirement is that the contestants wear the wildest outfits possible. Megan Thee Stallion takes the stage first, sporting a neon pink, fur-lined bodysuit that somehow manages to outshine everything else in the room. She twerks so hard the ground shakes, and her fans go wild. The crowd cheers her on, chanting, "Hot Girl Meg," as the camera flashes blind everyone in sight. Not to be outdone, Cardi B storms in from the side, dressed in a skin-tight, gold metallic dress that practically glows in the dark. She immediately joins the competition and takes her twerking to new heights, sliding across the floor like it's made of ice. A few VIPs make bets on who's going to win, with Tyler, the creator, placing the most audacious wager of all, his custom Lamborghini, if Megan wins. The competition takes a bizarre turn when Drake, wearing a silky robe and sunglasses at night, decides to join in, much to the confusion of everyone around him. But with one unexpected spin, he lands a flawless move that no one thought he had in him. The crowd goes wild. Drake looks around smugly and says, "Guess that's what happens when you spend 3 months in the gym." In the VIP lounge, Kylie Jenner and Travis Scott are caught in the middle of a heated discussion about whether or not they should start a dance-off to create the next viral TikTok move. Kim Kardashian, overhearing their conversation, chimes in from across the room. "Why don't we just have a who can be the most extra contest?" She's wearing a custom-made gown, so voluminous that it takes 2 assistants to carry it behind her. The fabric sparkles in the light as she poses for photos, while Khloe Kardashian is visibly trying to hold back laughter at the absurdity of it all. Meanwhile, Kendall Jenner has snuck off with Bad Bunny, and the two are making their way to the rooftop terrace. They're caught in an awkward yet undeniable moment of chemistry, but neither seems to care about the prying eyes of the paparazzi snapping pictures from below. Kendall nonchalantly takes a sip of her drink and says, "So, do you want to get out of here?" Bad Bunny smirks, shrugs, and says, "Let's make this night even crazier." In another corner of the room, Zendaya is having a deep philosophical conversation with Timothée Chalamet. about how life in Hollywood can sometimes feel like a performance art piece. They sit on velvet couches, sipping mocktails while discussing the complexities of fame and identity. At one point, Zendaya stands up and exclaims, "Life's too short. Let's go make a TikTok," to which Timothy eagerly agrees. The buffet spread looks like something out of a hyper-realistic food porn video. There are gold-covered lobster tails, champagne-infused macarons, and a bizarre dish that looks like a sculpture made entirely of caviar. A massive chocolate fountain flows in the center, with people dipping everything from fruit to marshmallows to, no surprise here, bacon strips. In the drink section, Rihanna is behind the bar, whipping up cocktails with a flair that only she could pull off. She's wearing a sheer black outfit that barely contains her fabulousness, and she insists on making a specialty drink for every guest. When Taylor Swift walks up, Rihanna hands her a mysterious purple concoction and says, "This one's for the drama queen." Taylor takes a sip, raises an eyebrow, and quips, "If the shoe fits." As the night progresses, the chaos intensifies. Kanye starts a rap battle in the middle of the dance floor, challenging Lil Wayne to a freestyle. Wayne, never one to back down, spits a verse so hard that even Kanye's ego has to take a back seat for a moment. Not far from the action, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith are caught doing a synchronized dance routine to a classic 90s hip-hop track. The crowd can't believe their eyes as they execute flawless choreography, complete with spins and flips that even Usher can't top. But the night's wildest moment happens when Tyler, the creator, emerges from the DJ booth wearing an inflatable dinosaur costume. He dives into the crowd, riding on a wave of people like he's surfing on a sea of partygoers. As the DJ cranks up the volume and the lights flash wildly, Snoop Dogg appears out of nowhere, casually strolling by with a lit blunt in his hand, muttering, "This is my kinda party." By the time the night winds down, Tom Cruise has been spotted riding a mechanical bull, with Emma Stone laughing hysterically beside him. Rihanna and Drake are in an impromptu dance-off, and Sharon Stone, yes, that Sharon Stone, has taken over the karaoke stage, belting out a rendition of "I Will Survive" with full diva energy. The party doesn't officially end until sunrise, and by then the guest list has gone from outrageous to surreal. Only in Diddy's world could this level of chaos, fun, and celebrity madness come together for one unforgettable night. The scene at Diddy's legendary freak-off party is already chaotic. An open-air mansion sprawling across the hills, the skyline twinkling in the distance, the air thick with the pulse of booming beats. This isn't just any party. It's the epitome of excess, luxury, and unpredictable celebrity behavior. But tonight, there's a special element in the air. The youngest Combs, Justin Combs, is officially making his mark. The night begins with Diddy, of course, entering with a swarm of A-list talent trailing behind him. The crowd goes wild, but tonight, everyone's waiting for Justin, his son, the rising star. He's been quiet on the scene for a while, but tonight, he's about to make sure everyone remembers his name. Justin rolls in with a swagger that could rival anyone in the room, stepping out of a matte black Rolls-Royce with a group of his friends, Lori Harvey, Future, and a few of the hottest influencers in the game. He's wearing a custom Louis Vuitton jacket, with his initials embroidered on the back, the sleek design giving him an air of quiet authority. But when he steps onto the red carpet, all bets are off. As Justin walks into the venue, he's immediately handed a cocktail by a scantily clad model who, with a wink, whispers, "For the future king." Justin smiles, nodding his thanks, but he's already eyeing something far more interesting. Lil Uzi Vert is standing by the DJ booth, wearing a full-on fur coat in the middle of the hottest LA night. Justin strolls up to Uzi, and without a word, grabs the mic. "What's good, y'all?" he says, his voice ringing through the sound system. The crowd goes silent, unsure whether they should cheer or wait for the punchline. "I'm about to show you how we do it in Combs family." With that, he tosses the mic to Future, who, ever the showman, starts hyping up the crowd. Then, without any warning, Justin climbs onto the DJ booth and begins performing an impromptu rap that's somehow both smooth and chaotic, completely unprepared, but drenched in confidence. He's got the whole room captivated as he starts flowing over the latest Travis Scott beat, rapping about luxury, power, and making Dad proud. At one point, he pauses, looking directly at Diddy, who's standing across the room watching with a grin that says, "That's my boy." The crowd goes wild. Justin's official coming out party is in full swing. Justin's energy spreads like wildfire across the room. As the beats hit harder, he grabs Drake, who's sipping on a neon green drink, and pulls him into an impromptu dance-off. The two of them, Drake in his oversized hoodie and Justin in his tailored suit, lock eyes before bursting into synchronized, highly exaggerated moves. Think moonwalking, hip rolls, and way too much swag for a dance floor that should be reserved for just a few cool moves. But it's not about rules at this party. While Drake is laughing at how ridiculous it's getting, Tyler, the creator, sneaks up behind them and starts throwing in his own moves, trying to outdo both of them by making exaggerated jazz hands and full-body spins that defy logic. But Justin, full of that next-generation confidence, flips the script. He's on the floor, spinning around with his jacket flaring out. And then suddenly, he jumps onto a nearby table, doing a perfect backflip off it, landing without a single wobble. It's like the floor is his stage, and he's performing a one-man circus act. The crowd is in awe, chanting his name, and Justin just laughs it off, saying, "Y'all know who I am." The music goes even louder, and now it's full-on pandemonium. Kylie Jenner is in the corner, trying to get some photos for her Instagram, but even she can't ignore what's happening in front of her. She immediately jumps into a viral TikTok challenge with Hailey Bieber and Kendall Jenner, all three of them laughing as they mimic Justin's moves in the background. But it doesn't stop there. Justin, wanting to outdo everyone, has an idea. He's going to make his night one for the history books. He grabs a hoverboard, takes a deep breath, and zips across the crowded dance floor, dodging confused partygoers like some kind of wild stuntman. But halfway through, he notices Bella Hadid and Gigi Hadid in the VIP lounge, looking unimpressed with the antics. So, what does he do? He launches into a full-speed circle, performing tricks and flips in the air, doing backflips off the edges of tables, gliding effortlessly while barely breaking a sweat. He even has time to wave and shout, "What's up, Hadids?" before landing smoothly back on the floor. Everyone is losing their minds. It's like he's trying to single-handedly upend all the coolness in the room and set a new bar for what's possible. As the party reaches full tilt, the stunts take an even wilder turn. Justin, feeling himself as usual, walks over to Lil Yachty, who's lounging in a VIP booth. Without missing a beat, Justin challenges him to a race on scooters. Of course, Yachty, who's no stranger to embracing a bit of chaos, agrees. The race kicks off in the most random of places, through the main dance floor, dodging people, drinks, and even a random guest's nachos. Kanye West, who's been sitting off to the side, suddenly stands up and shouts, "If this was my party, I'd make that $1 million bet." Tyler, the creator, jumps up immediately, shouting, "You know what? I'm throwing a challenge out there too." Now it's not just a scooter race. It's a full-on Combs Family Olympics. Everyone is somehow involved in this impromptu, nonsensical competition. Cardi B is rolling up on roller skates. Snoop Dogg is over there betting on the race with a giant cigar in his mouth. And Zendaya has jumped in to ref the whole thing. Meanwhile, Justin, ever the wild card, takes a moment to grab a microphone and loudly declares, the winner of the race gets a lifetime supply of champagne and whatever the hell they want from the Combs vault. The crowd erupts. But even crazier is when Justin goes one step further. Realizing the madness has reached its peak, he pulls out a real hovercraft from a hidden section of the venue. That's right, a full-on hovercraft, and he's about to take it for a spin inside the mansion. Beyoncé and Jay-Z, standing in the corner, exchange a look of both disbelief and amusement as Justin sails past them, knocking over several drinks in the process. "I can't believe he's doing this," Jay-Z mutters, while Beyoncé laughs, shaking her head. The future is wild. By the end of the night, Justin is surrounded by a crowd of new followers, a mix of influencers, moguls, and celebrities, all trying to keep up with his unpredictable energy. He's somehow turned what was supposed to be a night of wild indulgence into a full-fledged performance art piece. Even Diddy, now in his own corner with a glass of champagne, can't help but beam with pride. At the very end of the night, as the sun rises and the mansion starts to empty out, Justin grabs a microphone one last time, tipsy but still full of fire. "Y'all ready for round 2? He shouts. "I'm just getting started." And with that, he vanishes into the night, leaving everyone wondering, is Justin Combs the next heir to the throne? Or is he already well beyond that, creating a legacy all his own? Either way, it's clear that tonight he owned the freak-off. The freak-off party at Diddy's sprawling Beverly Hills mansion is already teetering on the edge of absolute chaos. It's an exclusive affair, an all-night spectacle where the world's richest and most famous gather to indulge in a cocktail of luxury, decadence, and pure excess. But there's one presence that electrifies the room with an undeniable sense of anticipation and dread: Kanye West. Kanye, as always, is unpredictable. One minute a silent genius, the next a whirlwind of chaos. Tonight, though, he's pushed the boundaries of outrageousness so far that it's no longer clear if he's here to party and make a statement or terrify everyone around him. For those in the room, this isn't just a party. It's a Kanye event, and it's about to get very, very dark. The first sign that this night will be different from all the others is the arrival of Kanye, or more precisely, Kanye's entrance. As the music pulses and the champagne flows, a massive black limousine rolls up to the entrance of Diddy's mansion. The lights flicker, and a heavy silence falls over the crowd. From the car steps a figure, draped in an all-black, oversized robe, with a hood that obscures his face. He doesn't speak a word as he walks past security, who seem almost scared to even look at him. Inside the mansion, the DJ spins some hard-hitting beats, and the guests are vibing, not knowing that Kanye has already begun weaving his surreal spell on the crowd. The lights dim, flickering erratically, as if in sync with his energy. A hush falls over the party as Kanye enters the main room, his face still hidden in shadow. He steps onto the platform, and the music halts, abruptly. Everyone watches, unsure of what will happen next. Drake, Lil Uzi Vert, and Megan Thee Stallion exchange glances, sensing the tension in the air. But Kanye says nothing. Instead, the room is filled with an eerie hum. Kanye's voice, amplified and distorted, emerges from hidden speakers. It sounds like something out of a horror film. "Kanye is the future. I'm the future." The words reverberate through the room, sending a chill down the spines of even the most seasoned partygoers. They know, in this moment, that something terrifying is about to unfold. Without warning, Kanye lifts his hood, revealing his eyes, intense, almost unblinking, and a slow smile creeps across his face. He raises his hands, and the lights flicker to a blinding white. Then, in an unsettling move, he takes a step back and motions for something, or someone, to be brought forward. A massive white curtain is pulled back from the corner of the room. It's then that the true horror of Kanye's party begins to unfold. The crowd gasps. Behind the curtain, standing motionless in the center of the room, is a full-on installation, a wax figure of Kanye himself, meticulously crafted, lifelike but cold, resembling a godlike statue of himself. It's not just a figure, though. It's surrounded by surreal, ominous artwork. There are towering sculptures that look like twisted versions of famous celebrities, but distorted and disturbing. Some have eyes that seem to follow you. Others feature bizarre shapes, combining the beauty of the human form with nightmarish elements. As Kanye steps forward to stand beside his creation, the lights flicker again, and a low, vibrating hum fills the air. The temperature in the room drops by a few degrees. Kanye's gaze never leaves the crowd as he slowly walks toward the DJ booth and grabs the mic. "This is the art," he says, his voice low and robotic. "This is the real me. The world isn't ready for it, but tonight, it will witness greatness." He presses play, and the crowd is engulfed in a disturbing experimental soundscape, a mixture of dissonant tone, screeching violins, and glitching beats. The music sounds like it's coming from a dark corner of the universe, disorienting and unsettling, like an audio assault on the senses. At this point, the party has shifted. People are no longer dancing. They're watching Kanye, almost entranced by his unpredictable presence. Kendall Jenner can be seen trying to make sense of what's happening, but she looks genuinely frightened as Kanye leads the crowd in what appears to be some sort of bizarre ritual. He begins chanting, repeating the words, "I am the future," in a slow, deliberate cadence, his voice growing in intensity. The crowd, unsure of whether to laugh or flee, hesitates. Tyler, the creator, is laughing nervously, but Beyoncé and Jay-Z exchange glances, their smiles fading into unease. Even Lil Nas X, known for his theatrical antics, looks hesitant. Kanye then moves into the middle of the room, standing near the sculpture of his own likeness, and begins to perform an eerie dance. It's not smooth, nor is it choreographed. Instead, it's jerky and mechanical, like someone mimicking human movements in a disturbing, unpracticed way. His arms stretch unnaturally, his body moving like a puppet on strings. The music becomes even more oppressive, a pulsating rhythm that rattles the bones. Without warning, Kanye's gaze snaps to Travis Scott, who's standing off to the side, visibly uncomfortable. In a move that sends the entire room into a frenzy, Kanye suddenly strides toward him. The crowd parts like the Red Sea as Kanye locks eyes with Travis, who stares back, unsure how to react. In an instant, Kanye lifts a glass bottle of something dark and glowing, and with a twisted grin, pours the contents over Travis's head. Like some kind of ritualistic offering, the glowing liquid cascades down Travis's face, making his skin shimmer unnaturally. For a moment, the room is silent, frozen in a mixture of confusion and fear. But Kanye isn't done yet. He reaches into his robe and pulls out an ancient-looking, leather-bound book, flipping it open. The pages appear to be filled with cryptic symbols and esoteric writings. As Kanye recites a strange incantation, the lights flicker violently. The temperature drops again. Everyone feels it, an inexplicable heavy dread settling over the room. Kim Kardashian, who's been quiet all night, steps forward from the back of the room, her face pale. "Kanye, what are you doing?" she asks, her voice shaky, barely audible above the humming music. Kanye doesn't respond. Instead, he turns to face her, his eyes cold, as if he no longer recognizes the people around him. He mutters, "You can't understand what I'm building, Kim. This is the future." And then, as quickly as the tension reaches its peak, Kanye smiles, a wide, unsettling smile, and simply walks off toward the private VIP section. He leaves the crowd to stew in the chaos and confusion that lingers. The room slowly starts to return to some semblance of normality, but the damage is done. The energy has shifted. People are hesitant to approach Kanye, unsure if they've just witnessed some sort of performance art, or if they've been part of something far darker. Diddy, usually the life of the party, is eerily quiet, watching the guests slowly return to their conversations, trying to shake off the lingering feeling that the night has taken a turn into something much darker than they anticipated. As the night wanes, Travis Scott is spotted speaking in hushed tones to Drake, both of them casting wary glances toward Kanye, who is now seated in a shadowy corner, alone with his thoughts. Tyler, the creator, nervously shrugs, muttering to Jaden Smith, "That was some other shit, bro." Outside, the mansion's lights flicker one last time. The freak-off is over, but the night that Kanye West turned it into his own disturbing personal theater will haunt everyone there long after they leave. The question remains, was it performance art? Or was it a glimpse into a darker, more terrifying version of Kanye's genius? Either way, it's clear that, at this party, Kanye was the one in control, commanding both awe and fear in equal measure. It's Diddy's infamous freak-off party, the one everyone whispers about. Known for its opulence, wild antics, and celebrity-packed guest list, this night in his sprawling Beverly Hills mansion promises nothing short of chaos. The scene is set. Neon lights pulse. Bass-heavy beats vibrate through the walls, and the air is thick with luxury and anticipation. But tonight, the boundaries of conventionality and sexuality are pushed even further. Nothing's off limits. Tonight, it's about indulgence, freedom, and self-expression in every possible form. As the night deepens, the party takes an unexpected turn, and the line between wild fun and something more intimate begins to blur. The party is already in full swing when Lil Nas X strides in, the crowd parting as he makes his entrance. Dressed in a floor-length, shimmering purple ensemble that screams both opulence and defiance, he's the star of the show from the second he steps inside. His magnetic presence immediately electrifies the room. Tyler, the creator, dressed in his usual offbeat style, is by the bar, sipping on a cocktail and watching the show unfold. He smiles as Lil Nas X walks past, their eyes locking in a knowing, flirtatious exchange. Without missing a beat, Tyler slides up to Lil Nas X, and the two start talking in hushed tones. Their conversation quickly shifts to more playful banter, their chemistry undeniable. Within moments, they're making their way to the dance floor together. As the music throbs, the crowd turns their attention toward them, wondering what will happen next. The two men begin to move together, their bodies in sync. But it's not just about dancing. It's the way Lil Nas X's fingers lightly graze Tyler's arm, the way their movements become more intimate as they engage in a slow, sensual rhythm that draws everyone in. They're not shy about their connection. Tyler pulls Lil Nas X close, whispering something in his ear before pulling him into a kiss that's just as unexpected as it is magnetic. The crowd gasps, then erupts into applause. It's not the first time celebrities have kissed in front of a crowd, but there's something more charged in this moment. a sign that something deeper is unfolding tonight. Drake, standing off to the side with Travis Scott, watches the scene unfold with a mix of awe and approval, giving a low chuckle. "That's what I'm talking about," he mutters to Travis, nodding to the couple on the dance floor. The night takes a new turn when Megan Thee Stallion, dressed in a show-stopping outfit that leaves little to the imagination, steps onto the dance floor with Kylie Jenner. The two women lock eyes as they move toward each other. There's no hesitation. The moment is electric. Kylie, her usually reserved nature slipping away in the heat of the party, takes Megan's hand, guiding her through the crowd with undeniable confidence. They share a flirtatious smile before moving into a slow, almost intimate dance. The crowd watches, some unsure, others captivated by the energy between the two women. Megan, with her signature swagger, pulls Kylie closer, their bodies pressed together as they move to the beat. It's clear there's an undeniable chemistry, an attraction that goes beyond the music, beyond the performance. As the song builds, they lock lips in a kiss that's as bold as it is sensual. The crowd erupts again, and Tyler and Lil Nas X, still standing nearby, raise their drinks in mock applause. Kylie seems to lose herself in the moment, her eyes never leaving Megan's as they share this unspoken connection, fully aware of the eyes on them but completely uninterested in anything but each other. Meanwhile, Drake and Lil Uzi Vert, two friends with undeniable chemistry, have decided to let loose. They're in the center of the dance floor, arms around each other as they move to the music. What starts as a casual dance soon escalates into something more. Lil Uzi nuzzles into Drake's neck, and without missing a beat, Drake spins him around, pulling him closer. The heat between them intensifies, the playful touches becoming more suggestive. Their chemistry is undeniable, and the crowd watches as the two men grind against each other, their bodies pressed together in a passionate, almost primal rhythm. Kanye West, watching from the sidelines with an approving grin, can't help but comment to Jay-Z, "That's how you know the energy is real." The intensity between Drake and Lil Uzi Vert builds, and in an unexpected move, Drake lifts Lil Uzi onto his shoulders, spinning him around like a prop in their unspoken dance routine. The room is electric as they interact, with no inhibitions or reservations, just two men unapologetically expressing themselves. As the night wears on, the VIP room becomes the epicenter of all things forbidden and unrestrained. Kendall Jenner is sitting on the couch, chatting with Hailey Bieber, when the door swings open and Gigi Hadid walks in. There's an undeniable tension in the room as Gigi and Kendall exchange heated glances. Without a word, Gigi walks over to Kendall, who tilts her head in curiosity. Hailey, standing nearby, watches with an intrigued expression, sensing what's about to happen. Before anyone can say anything, Gigi steps forward and presses her lips to Kendall's. The kiss is slow, deliberate, and full of longing. Hailey watches with a mix of fascination and something deeper, maybe jealousy, maybe desire. But she doesn't hold back. She steps forward, joining the two women in the kiss, her hands wandering as she pulls them both closer. The trio becomes a tangle of lips, hands, and bodies, each woman taking the lead at different moments, testing boundaries, but always connected. The energy in the room shifts, and soon, Rihanna and Beyoncé, who've been keeping a low profile all night, notice what's happening. They exchange a look, something mischievous flashing across their faces. Without a word, they glide across the room, their eyes locked on each other. The attraction is palpable as they close the distance between them. As the music shifts, the two women step into the center of the room, their chemistry undeniable. Beyoncé moves closer, her hand resting on Rihanna's hip as they slowly begin to dance, their bodies swaying to the beat. There's no hesitation now. The tension has already been broken. They share a kiss, long, slow, and deliberate. The crowd watches, enraptured by the display of passion and connection. By now the room is electric. Tyler, the creator, having seen it all, takes center stage again, grabbing a mic from the DJ booth. "This is what I'm talking about," he shouts, his voice filled with excitement. "Tonight is about freedom. Tonight is about expression. Let's keep this energy going." The crowd erupts into cheers, and the atmosphere shifts again. No one is holding back anymore. Travis Scott and $1 Rocky have joined the dance floor, their chemistry undeniable. They lock eyes, and without a word, Travis pulls $1 into a wild, unrestrained dance. The moves are fluid, sensual, almost primal, as their bodies press against each other, lost in the music and in the shared intensity of the moment. There's a raw energy between them, and it's clear they're feeding off the crowd's excitement. The passion, undeniable. What starts as a playful exchange quickly escalates into something much more intense. The connection between them is more than just physical. It's emotional and electric. Tyler, still watching from the sidelines, yells, "Y'all better stop, or I'm gonna lose it." As the night winds down, the party moves toward its inevitable after-party, an intimate affair in Diddy's private quarters. The vibe is still electric, though. Guests have paired off, exploring connections that they might have never openly considered before. Conversations are less about small talk and more about authenticity, and the sense of inhibition has completely disappeared. Kendall and Gigi, still entwined from their earlier moment, are talking closely, their fingers entwined. Haley leans in for a soft kiss with Kendall, and no one seems to bat an eye. Everyone is just living in the moment, in the most raw and authentic form of self-expression. As the sun rises and the party winds to a close, Diddy, who's been quietly watching all the drama unfold, smiles. This is what he's always wanted, a celebration of freedom, expression, and love in all its forms. No shame, no judgments, just pure, unfiltered energy. In this moment, there are no labels, there are no limits, just the freedom to embrace who you truly are, in all its complexities, with no apologies. The air around Diddy's sprawling mansion in the hills of Beverly Hills is thick with an electric charge, as if the very atmosphere knows that tonight is going to be different. The guest list is filled with Hollywood's elite. Musicians, actors, models, influencers. The night is young, and the music is already shaking the foundations of the mansion. But this is no ordinary party. The building itself has a presence tonight, an unsettling one. Diddy, ever the charismatic host, is grinning ear to ear, greeting guests as they enter his home. But there's something off about the night. People speak in hushed tones. The opulence of the space feels darker than usual, with red velvet curtains hanging ominously over the windows. There are flashes of neon, but they flicker like lights on the brink of failure. The first strange occurrence happens early in the night. Lil Nas X and Tyler, the creator, both notorious for their bold personas, stand at the center of the room, laughing loudly, their chemistry undeniable. But then, something shifts. Tyler's eyes lock on Lil Nas X in a way that feels too intense, even for their usual playful rapport. The music grows louder, but it's the bass that seems to be vibrating in their chests. Too deep, too pulsing. It's almost like a compulsion. Without warning, Tyler takes a step forward, his hand reaching out to grasp Lil Nas X by the wrist. The grip is firm, almost desperate. For a moment, it seems like Tyler is about to kiss him. But then his body jerks back, As if pulled by an unseen force, his face contorts into confusion. "Yo, what the hell?" Tyler mutters, rubbing his forehead as if trying to shake off a dizzying sensation. Lil Nas X stumbles back, his laughter dying in his throat. His eyes widen in horror, and he looks around as if searching for something or someone who could explain what's happening. But there's nothing. The party has gone silent for a brief moment, as if the entire house is holding its breath. As the clock ticks on, the party resumes, but the atmosphere has shifted. It feels heavier now, the music distorting, the lights flickering in erratic patterns. Drake and Kanye West, who have been quietly chatting near the bar, suddenly lock eyes in a way that sends chills down the spine. There's a strange, magnetic pull between them, like they can't look away from one another. "Is everything okay, bro?" Drake asks, his voice unsteady, the air around him thick with something that doesn't feel right. Kanye doesn't respond immediately. His gaze seems lost, unfocused, as if he's trying to break free from something invisible. The lights flicker again, casting long shadows across the room, distorting the figures around them. The once glamorous atmosphere now feels claustrophobic. The walls seem to pulse, as if the house itself is breathing. Then, without warning, Kanye grabs Drake's wrist, pulling him close. "We're beyond this, man," Kanye mutters, his voice cold and eerie. Before Drake can pull away, Kanye leans in, his lips brushing against his ear. Drake's body stiffens. He opens his mouth to protest but can't form the words. The music in the background grows louder and more chaotic, like an out-of-tune symphony. But instead of pulling back, Drake finds himself leaning in. His instincts, once sharp and clear, now feel dulled, clouded. Their lips touch, at first tentative, then more forcefully, as if the energy in the room is compelling them. It's not about attraction. It's about something darker. Suddenly, the lights go out completely, plunging the room into darkness. For a split second, there is only the sound of frantic breathing and the rhythm of the music, which feels like it's being played from inside their own minds. The crowd is silent, as if frozen in place. And then, laughter. A low, menacing laugh that seems to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. The laughter reverberates through the house, rattling the chandeliers, sending a chill through the bones of every guest present. Lil Uzi Vert stands off to the side, his face contorted in confusion as he looks around. There's a strange energy in the air, almost like it's pushing against him, pulling him into the darkness. Tyler, still trying to shake off the lingering feeling from earlier, stumbles backward, only to crash into a $AP Rocky, who's also looking uneasy. The two of them glance at each other, their eyes filled with the same terror. But before they can speak, the door to the back room slams open. Standing there is Kanye West, but something is wrong. His eyes are black, completely devoid of color, and his voice has taken on a deep, guttural tone that isn't his own. "You shouldn't have come here," Kanye's voice hisses, though his mouth doesn't move in sync with the words. It's like the house itself is speaking through him. Drake, looking pale and shaken, stumbles forward. "Kanye, man, what the hell is going on?" Kanye's head tilts at an unnatural angle, his body shifting with an eerie mechanical precision. "You've all been invited, but you will not leave," he says, his voice splitting into multiple tones. The words feel like a curse, the very air growing cold and heavy. The guests are frozen, as if their bodies are no longer their own. The music has stopped altogether, replaced by a thumping that feels like a heartbeat, a rhythm that is alien, foreign, and all-encompassing. Lil Nas X, Tyler, $1 AP Rocky, and the others stand rooted to the floor, unable to move or speak, as though they've become part of the house itself. As the minutes stretch into eternity, the house itself seems to come alive. The walls close in, breathing in time with the beat of the unseen heart. Lil Uzi Vert, who has remained silent and distant, suddenly lets out a blood-curdling scream. He falls to his knees, clutching his head as the force of whatever entity is inside him takes control. "Get out!" he cries. But it's not his voice anymore. It's the voice of something ancient and full of rage. The others watch in horror as Lil Uzi Vert begins to convulse, his body jerking as if being pulled by invisible strings. His eyes flash white, and then, in an instant, he's on his feet, laughing maniacally. "You're all part of this now," he says in a voice that is not his own. "This is the price of indulgence." The room goes silent again, and the temperature plummets, as if the house is sucking the warmth from the very air. Suddenly, the lights flicker back on, but what was once a lavish mansion now appears decrepit, ancient, almost forgotten. The walls are cracked, the furniture rotting, and the grand chandelier above them sways like a pendulum, counting down their final moments. Panic sets in. Kanye, now back to his normal self, stumbles away from the group. His face is ashen, his body trembling. "What the hell is going on?" he mutters. But there's no answer, only the sound of the heartbeat growing louder, faster, almost like it's closing in on them. Drake grabs Tyler's arm, pulling him toward the exit. "We need to leave, now." But the door won't open. It's as if the house itself is rejecting them, holding them prisoner in its suffocating grip. The partygoers are trapped. Lil Nas X, who was once the picture of confidence, now seems like a shell of himself. His body is rigid, his eyes vacant, like he's lost all willpower to fight whatever malevolent force is inside him. Then, the walls start to crack, and the mansion begins to fold in on itself, twisting and contorting. The figures of the guests disappear into the shadows, their faces twisted into grotesque expressions of fear, their bodies merging with the house. As the house collapses in on itself, the last thing anyone hears is Diddy's voice, faint, distant, but filled with a strange, unsettling calm. "You should have never come to the freak-off." The next morning, there are no signs of the party, no evidence that it ever took place at all. Diddy's mansion is gone, reduced to rubble, and the only thing left behind is a lingering, oppressive silence. The guests, once known for their larger-than-life personas, have vanished, their names whispered in the wind like forgotten dreams. No one knows what happened that night. All that remains is the haunting memory of a party that crossed into something far darker than anyone could ever imagine. This twist on the freak-off party brings the horror of an ancient, malevolent force taking control of the guests, making the night spiral into something unrecognizable and terrifying. The idea of power, desire, and indulgence taking a dark, supernatural turn sets the stage for a truly unsettling experience. It was supposed to be another legendary night at Diddy's. The freak-off was infamous for its lavishness, decadence, and the wildest celebrities on Earth. But no one could have predicted what would unfold that night. If anyone had known, they wouldn't have stepped foot on Diddy's estate. No one could have imagined the horrors that would crawl out from the deepest corners of that mansion. It was a crisp, cool evening when the guests began arriving at Diddy's iconic Beverly Hills mansion. The estate was massive, a sprawling piece of architectural perfection that looked out over the glittering city lights below. But tonight, something felt off. The air was dense with anticipation, but there was a darkness creeping beneath the surface that even the brightest stars couldn't ignore. Drake, Lil Nas X, Tyler, The Creator, Kanye West, Snoop Dogg, and more of the biggest names in entertainment had gathered to celebrate. But it was immediately clear that this wasn't just another glamorous Hollywood party. The invitations were strange. The invites had been cryptic. No mention of the usual champagne showers, elaborate dance floors, or wild performances. Just a few simple words, printed in gold. Tonight, indulge in your deepest desires. You may never leave. It seemed like a joke, an over-the-top way to hype up the night. But those who arrived early couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't quite right. The house, while still jaw-droppingly beautiful, had a sinister air. The grand chandelier in the foyer seemed to sway in an unnatural rhythm, the lights flickering as though struggling to stay on. A heavy silence filled the mansion's rooms as the first guests entered. Tyler, the creator, always the boldest, laughed it off. "Man, it's just Diddy doing his thing," he said, attempting to lighten the mood. But even he couldn't ignore the strange coldness in the air, the heavy feeling that pressed against his chest like an invisible weight. And then there was the music. The beat pulsed through the mansion, but not in the usual way. This wasn't the thumping rhythm of a party anthem. It was something darker, deeper, unsettling. Every beat seemed to reverberate in their bones, the vibrations like whispers, coaxing them into something they didn't understand. The first disappearance. At around 10 p.m., the party had taken full swing. The drinks flowed freely, and the crowd lost themselves in the hedonistic rush of lights, music, and intoxication. Drake, Lil Nas X, and Tyler, the creator, were gathered near the bar, laughing and joking, when a sudden commotion from the far end of the room caught their attention. It was Kanye West, but something was wrong. He was standing at the center of a small group of people, his hands shaking. His eyes darted wildly as if searching for something, no someone. He was calling out to the others in a voice that didn't sound like his own. Where is he? Where did he go? Kanye's words were frantic, his breath coming in ragged gasps. He was just here. He was right here. People turned, but no one had any idea what he was talking about. The room had grown eerily quiet, a strange tension hanging in the air. Snoop Dogg walked over, placing a hand on Kanye's shoulder. "Yo, what's up, man?" Snoop asked, his voice calm but laced with concern. But Kanye was too far gone, his gaze fixed on Snoop's face, his pupils widening in terror. "I saw him. I saw him. He's in the walls, man." Before anyone could respond, Kanye staggered backward, his body twitching unnaturally. And then, in the blink of an eye, he disappeared, vanished into thin air. The guests froze. There was no sound of a door opening or closing. There was no scream. Kanye West, one of the most recognizable figures in the world, was gone. The house becomes alive. Panic rippled through the crowd. At first it was just confusion, but the vibe quickly shifted. People began to feel a tightness in their chests, a deep unease that spread like a disease. The lights flickered again, this time going out completely for several moments. When they returned, the mansion had transformed. The walls had changed. They were no longer pristine and elegant. They were warped, like something out of a nightmare. Cracks running down the surfaces like veins, oozing a thick, black substance that seemed to pulse with life. The floors, once shining and immaculate, now appeared uneven, covered with what looked like ash. The air tasted metallic, like blood, and the temperature had plummeted, sending chills through everyone in the room. "Man, what the hell is going on?" Lil Nas X whispered, his voice shaky. Before anyone could answer, a loud crash echoed from upstairs. It sounded like furniture being thrown against the walls. The partygoers moved in unison toward the stairs, drawn by a force they couldn't explain. The horrific discovery. They reached the top of the stairs to find a door to one of the bedrooms open. Inside, Kanye West stood in the center of the room, staring at something on the floor, with a look of complete horror on his face. His body was rigid, his eyes wide in disbelief. "Yo!" Tyler called out to him, stepping into the room, but Kanye didn't respond. He couldn't. His mouth was moving, but there was no sound coming out. Tyler, cautiously approaching, peered down at the floor, and his stomach dropped. It was Drake, but it wasn't the Drake they knew. His body was contorted in ways that shouldn't be possible. His limbs were twisted, his eyes wide open but glazed over. His mouth hung open in an unearthly scream that never came. His throat clearly torn apart, as though something had ripped its way out of him. Snoop stumbled backward, his face pale. "What the hell is this? What the hell happened to him?" Before anyone could answer, the ground beneath their feet trembled. The walls began to vibrate violently, as if the house itself was alive, and a deafening roar echoed through the mansion. The ceiling cracked open, and through the hole, black tendrils slithered down, thick and writhing, like some terrible creature had awoken. And then, the true horror revealed itself, the unseen force. The floor seemed to dissolve beneath their feet. A monstrous, swirling mass of shadows and limbs emerged from the depths of the mansion's foundations. Tendrils of pure darkness wrapped around every wall, crawling toward the terrified celebrities. The entity was so vast, so ancient, that it could not be seen in its entirety. Its shape was not defined by physical form, but by a chaotic, seething energy that clawed at their very souls. The walls began to bleed. The air was thick with a smell of decay, rotting flesh, and something else, something wrong, unnatural. "Run!" Tyler screamed, but no one could move. The force had them trapped. The entity had seeped into their minds, taking hold of their thoughts, paralyzing them with fear. Drake's distorted body began to twitch, its eyes snapping open as though he was alive again. But it wasn't him. The creature inside him was not human, not even alive in the traditional sense. It was something far worse, a thing that had been lurking in the mansion for centuries, waiting for the right moment to awaken. Suddenly, the room exploded with a deafening scream, and the darkness consumed them all. The aftermath. When the morning sun rose over Beverly Hills, the mansion was completely gone. No trace remained of Diddy's legendary freak-off party. The land was scorched, the earth cracked open as if something immense had been pulled down into it. No one had seen or heard from the guests. Tyler, the creator, Lil Nas X, Snoop Dogg, and the others were gone. Not a single soul remained to tell the tale. All that was left was a whisper in the wind. A warning carried through the streets of Hollywood. Never go to Diddy's freak-off party again. Not unless you want to become part of the house's collection. This horror story takes a surreal, supernatural turn, where the freak-off party spirals into madness and terror. The mansion itself is a vessel for an ancient, malevolent force, and the guests find themselves caught in an inescapable nightmare. It's a chilling narrative of indulgence gone wrong, where the party turns into a twisted descent into chaos.